Welcome back. This is Sandy with Sandy's Organized Chaos. So we're kind of going again with this magical winter theme. So we did snow angels in our last tutorial, and now we're going to work on snowball fights, which again is all a part of our youth and is something I think a lot of us have done. But we're just trying to stick with that whimsy and magical moments of winter time. As always, I'll make sure to put everything I used today into the description box below, so that way you guys can purchase those items if you would like to. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and let's wake up, prep these tumblers, and slay all day. Let's do this. Starting off with the tumbler link I'll be using today. This is a little 12-ounce whiskey bench from Mother Tumbler. You can use code SANDY to save you a little bit of cash if you'd like to purchase some blanks from them. So I'm going to be using the epoxy method to adhere my glitter down, and you may notice I didn't paint my base with anything. That's because the glitter I'm using today is a silver flash glitter. It's very high flash silver, and I'm just going to use the color silver from the Tumbler blank as my backdrop. And because I'm using a chunky glitter, I'm going to apply a bit more than usual epoxy to my base so that way my chunky glitter lays nice and flat for me. The glitter I'm going to be using today is called Sugar Plum. It is, like I said earlier, a high flash silver with it like flashes gold and purple. Like it's very light with the extra colors. The gold is a little bit more pronounced than the purple. But of course, you can purchase that glitter from socglitters.com if you would like to. So now I'm just going to go ahead and load up my tumbler with my glitter. After I get that fully loaded on, I'm going to go ahead and take my opposite gloved hand. I'm going to push the glitter away from the rim, and I'm just going to come through and tap down any glitter that kind of is poking up. And then I'm going to place that onto my turner and let that cure. The reason why I'm placing it onto my turner to cure is because we used a little bit more epoxy than usual, and I don't want my glitter kind of sagging around on me, so place it onto a turner just to be safe. Now, after that cured, I went ahead and sealed down my glitter. I sealed my glitter with either a liquid sealer or a spray sealer. You want to do that before you apply your epoxy. It just helps out with any fisheyes that might occur because the chunky glitters can be slick and you just need something for your epoxy to grip onto. So you want to go ahead and epoxy that smooth and let that cure. She is cured, she's smooth, and we are ready to apply our cool touches to this. So starting off with the lid, we're going to go ahead and remove the slider. This is what I like to do. If you like to do a removable lid, or a removable topper, you could do that as well, but this is how I like to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that slider first. All I do is I take a screwdriver and I just gently pry that up off of the lid base until it comes off. Now I'm going to be applying UV resin down into the center here. So I'm just going to go ahead and rough up the area that I'm going to be applying the UV resin. You don't want to scratch up any area that won't have the resin because you'll be able to see the scratches still. So only the area you know for sure you're going to put your epoxy onto. So you're going to go ahead and take your UV resin of choice. I'm going to go ahead and squirt a little bit into a little measuring cup. I think I did about 5 mLs worth. Then you're going to go ahead and take your glitter of choice. I'm just going to use the same exact glitter that I used on my base just so it all coordinates with one another. I'm going to go ahead and stir that up really good. And then I'm just going to apply it to the areas I'd like it to cover. So for me, I'm going to pretty much cover every single area. I'm even going to fill in that hole in the center with my UV resin. So I'm going to go ahead and just get that applied, and I'll show you how I do the hole in the center. So after I go ahead and cure that UV resin with my UV light, I'm going to go ahead and take a silicone mat and I'm going to press my lid tight against it. I'm just going to fill it up just a very tiny bit with my UV resin so that way I know it can cure properly. I'm going to go ahead and cure that UV resin down in the center of the hole. I'm using a silicone mat so that way it can easily peel off that mat and then I can finish filling it. So after I peel it back, I do the underside as well, just to really verify that it is nicely cured. But there you go, now the hole is filled and you can finish filling it with your glitter and UV resin. So to make the snowballs on the very top of the lid, I'm going to be using this lightweight spackleting. You gotta make sure it's lightweight. And most of the time you can get this from the Dollar Tree as well. I know Lowe's, Home Depot, all that sells it, but check out your local Dollar Tree as well because I think I got that from there, I'm pretty sure I did. We're going to take a little bit of that lightweight spackleting and we're going to go ahead and plop it down into an extra cup here because you can dye it any color you'd like, but obviously we want to keep it white because we're making snowballs, but I want to add glitter to mine. So I'm going to go ahead and put that down in there and I'm going to place some white glitter inside of it. You add as much as you'd like. And the great thing is you don't have to fully stir it in because you kind of want it on the outside as well. You want to have that little bit of glistening on the outside. But I'm going to talk to you a little bit more because I'm going to be using two different types of kind of this spackleting look to the tumbler. The reason why I use this is because it's thicker, as you can see, so that way the snowball shape is going to hold tougher for me, whereas when I go to do the ice on the side of the cup, I'm going to be using a different kind of stuff similar to this, but it's a lot more liquid. So anyways, it wouldn't hold its shape if I used it. So I'll show you here in a minute when we go to do the sides. To make the snowball shape, I'm going to use this very small ice cream scooper. You see it's a lot smaller than normal. That's so that way when we scoop it, it's similar to this, okay? I did an ice cream tumbler over the summer. It's similar to that, but we don't want it to look like ice cream. We want it to look like snowballs. So we're going to do our best to try to make it not look like ice cream. So we're going to go ahead and scoop. We're going to go ahead and fill our scoop up with our concoction here. So the key is, like, when you go to the ice cream, you leave the stuff on the outside to make it look like ice cream scooped onto it, but I'm scraping all the outside stuff off of it so that way it looks more like a plop down snowball, okay? So we're just gonna go ahead and release that, and there we go. So now I'm gonna do 3 of these all together. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that last one placed down. I'm gonna gently place it right on top of the other 2 here, just kind of releasing it right on top. And there we go. You just want to be kind of gentle, and I do kind of tap it down just a little bit so it kind of settles onto each other. You don't want to tap it too much because then it might deflate. So you just want to tap it a little bit, and there we go. So now we're going to go ahead and form it just a little bit better again so it doesn't look like ice cream. I found that taking my wooden stick and just running it along the outside and just kind of giving it a little bit of texture and making it more of a ball shape really did the trick. Once you have that all smoothed out and looking the way you'd like it, you're going to go ahead and come through and make sure that any of this is wiped off the areas you don't want it. So you just want to go ahead and remove any little bits of it, and then we're going to set that off to the side, and you want to let this dry for at least a week, okay, because it's so thick. You just really want to make sure it's dry before you add your epoxy to the top. So this is a little bit of a process, but trust me, it's so super cool in the end. For the quote, I just did it up myself, but I highlighted never and snowball fight. So I just kind of made it bigger. I don't know. You know what I mean? So it's for super simple. You type out your quote. You're going to go ahead and take the words you want bigger or highlighted. You're going to erase that, make it bigger and highlighted. And there you go. You have your quote. So I did apply an offset to mine. Of course, that's optional, not everybody likes offsets, but for my offset, I just did a plain white vinyl. And then for the lettering itself, I went ahead and played with the little bit of lavender that's in the glitter, and I'm going to use that for my main decal. So I went ahead and got that applied to my tumbler base, and the extra stuff that I'm going to be using now is Aleene's Glitter Snow. I know you guys know I love my Aleene's Glitter Snow, okay, and I had to use it, and I really wanted to use it for the snowballs, but like I said, I'll show you guys here, it's a lot thinner than the compound that we used for the lid. But of course, you could use that compound for the sides too if you wanted to. I mean, really, honestly, guys, it's up to you. But I really like how this is a little bit looser, so it actually made it a lot easier to do what I'm doing right here. So we're going to actually use it just like puffy paint, and we're going to place some onto our stick, and we're just going to scrape our stick right along the top rim here, and we're going to just scrape off a bit of that Aleene's Glitter Snow right onto the side. Now this stuff starts to harden up right away, so we just want to move relatively quick with it. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and remove it around the rim here, and I am cleaning it up as I go, so this is going to give it a nice tight clean rim. Then we're going to go ahead and move into making those kind of like falling icicle shapes on the side, which, look at this, super simple. You're just going to take your gloved finger and you're going to, light as a feather, pull down on the Aleene's Glitter Snow, and it's going to give it that really neat icicle look hanging off the side. So the main thing you want to keep in mind is I do intend on doing the bottom as well in the same fashion. So you just want to make sure that you leave space for that, but I also want to make sure it has that really cool effect where when we bring up the bottom, it kind of has that like two-tone look to it. So we're just going to drag that down as far down as you would like it, but keep making sure that you keep it vertical. You don't want it to go off to the sides or anything. You want to try to keep it as straight as possible. And again, I am just barely taking the edge of this glitter snow and pulling it straight down. Very similar to when we do our beach tumblers. And another thing I really like about this is because we applied so much to the rim, it really has that almost 3D effect to it with the snow up around the rim. I just feel like it really adds a lot more to it. But see, I'm trying to keep it so that way I didn't speed this up or anything. That's how quick it was. That's how quick and easy this is. And I just come through and tap down any other little pieces that I think might be an issue before it dries, as well as I keep going. And there we go. And of course we need to add some glitter to it to match the snowballs. And we're just trying to move as quick as we can because, again, this stuff does form a skin pretty fast. So we're going to come through and just lightly sprinkle on our glitter. I'm just going to use the same glitter I used in the snowballs. I'm going to use that Pinnacle White. And now there we go. Look at that. So cool looking. But yeah, cool looking. Yeah. Anyways, now let's go ahead and do the bottom as well. So again, we're just going to do exactly like we did the top. I'm just going to take my stick and I'm going to scrape my glitter snow right across the bottom. And I'll take my finger and just tidy up the edges here, just all the way around. Sorry, my cat is laying in a box over here if you heard that. I'm just saying, he's helping me out in here. So anyways, now we're just going to come through just like we did the top, and we're just going to very lightly drag down a bit of that glitter snow, giving us that really neat effect we're looking for. Super easy, right? It looks like there was so much more to it, and there's really not, guys. That's how simple this is. Of course, I'm going to sprinkle that with the glitter as well, and then I'm going to set this off to the side and let that dry along with my lid, and then we'll come back through and epoxy both of them at the same time. First things first, it's dry, and I am going to come through and use a liquid sealer to seal down my snowballs. The reason for that is it might absorb a little bit because it is a bit porous. So we're going to use the sealer to kind of block off those pores so that way our epoxy doesn't go in or absorb into our snowballs. But I have the brush on hand because I like to use it to get down into the little areas that my fingers just can't get into. Now I am going to reuse this brush with my epoxy, so I'm just going to make sure that I wash my brush off really well, and you want to make sure that the glue dries or the sealer dries really well before you apply your epoxy as well. All right, so now it's time for the epoxy. Everything is dried and ready to go, and we're going to get the lid done first. So I'm just going to hold on to my lid. I'm going to use a cross between my finger, and I'm going to use a cross between that brush we were using earlier. So I'm going to use my finger first to kind of load on the epoxy for me and really smooth this on. It takes probably 2 to 3 very thin coats. I do very thin coats so that way it doesn't run all over the place, but I'm just going to use my finger, load it up on the top really well. And then, of course, use the brush to get into any little places that my finger just can't reach. And again, I'll probably do that about 2 more times, just very thin with a brush, and there we go. Then we're going to go ahead and come through and seal down our tumbler as well. So I'm just going to take my epoxy, load that up really well, place that onto my turner, hit it up with my torch, popping any little micro bubbles, and she is ready to go. Whether you take this design and duplicate it as is, or you take it and let it inspire you to create something that is completely your own, I hope that you guys had a lot of fun watching this tutorial today. Again, if you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time.